Hold up, 0.0% DNA on the gun? Tory Lanez might have been telling the truth from day one. And now Fox News just blew this case wide open. And the industry? Real quiet right now. Shout out to TrapHouse Kitchen, The Real Omegatron 757, and Misstee for dropping the deep dives and unfiltered facts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because Triple D stays on the story while the rest are just catching up. Welcome to Digital Diva Daily. This is commentary under fair use for review and educational purposes. Today's scandal, up next. So let's get into it. Roll the clip.
What y'all think about this, though?
To produce a single shred of forensic evidence tying Tory to the actual gun. His fingerprints weren't on it. His DNA was later found to be 100% nearly excluded from the gun, as shown in the worksheet that was provided to the defense late on the eve of the actual trial.
That's crazy.
After making a request for that very document. After trial, looking at this evidence, there is a 0.01% chance Tory's DNA was on the firearm. That's a difficult statistic to equate with the story as told by the prosecution, which may be why this was not present in trial. In fact, there were 3 people that night at the scene who tested positive for gunshot residues. One of those was Kelsey Harris, as Gianno mentioned, the assistant to Megan Pete.
Look, Jay-Z and them was putting it together. So I think they still harbor some energy. She said, were you intimate with Tory Lanez? And she said, what? And then it was like, no. And I was like, she's lying. At that point, I knew she was the devil. She's lying. There wouldn't be no reason for me to be around each other.
You want to know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Roc Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it.
Y'all, 50 Cent just pulled up with receipts showing how Jay-Z is allegedly behind Tory Lanez's suspicious stabbing in prison. And it looks like there's a whole lot of conspiracy going on here. In case you missed it, Tory got stabbed 14 times in prison a couple of days ago, and he was lucky to make it out alive. At first, we thought it was just a jailhouse altercation that got out of hand. But according to 50 Cent, Jay-Z allegedly put the hit on Tory. And if you're wondering why Jay-Z would do that, it's allegedly to protect Megan and her reputation. See, new evidence just came out that kind of proves that Tory did not shoot Megan and that he might have been convicted unfairly. Y'all, this drama is about to blow up all over again, so let's get into it. At this point, the Megan and Tory situation feels like a never-ending roller coaster. Every time it starts to quiet down, something even crazier pops off. And now Tory getting stabbed, that might just take this whole mess to a new level. It's giving drama that refuses to die. Like, how is this still unfolding? But according to reports, Tory suffered a prison yard stabbing so bad he needs hospital treatment. Tory was in the yard of California Correctional Institution at Tehachapi Monday morning when another inmate stabbed him. According to multiple sources, including one in law enforcement, it's unclear what the motive was for the attack, but one source tells us Tory was rushed by ambulance to a nearby civilian hospital in Bakersfield. The reports went on to say that Tory was attacked at a housing unit in California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi at about 7:20 a.m. Staff immediately gave him medical aid and called 911, and he was taken into an outside hospital. Then Tory's IG released a statement that said Tory was stabbed 17 times, including 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed, and he was placed on a breathing apparatus. He is now breathing on his own. Despite being in pain, he is talking normally, in good spirits, and deeply thankful to God that he is pulling through. He also wants to thank everyone for their continued prayers and support. When news of this broke, a lot of people didn't feel bad for Tory because they felt like it was his karma for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. This person tweeted, "People feeling sorry for Tory Lanez is so funny. Just know that him being stabbed does not compare to him shooting Megan. She could have lost her life that night had the bullet went anywhere else. I don't feel bad at all for that creature." Well, according according to 50 Cent, this was not just a random jailhouse fight that got messy, because let him tell it, it was a targeted hit. See, the man who stabbed Tory is a really bad guy who was in prison for one of the worst things you can imagine. And according to reports, the inmate who allegedly stabbed Tory Lanez in prison last week has been identified as Santino Cassio and is already serving life in prison with the possibility of parole. Cassio, 42, is being investigated for allegedly attacking the rapper at a housing unit in the California Correctional Institution, Choppy. Cassio's rap sheet is a mile long and dates back to 2004 when he was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole for second-degree murder, first-degree attempted murder, personal use of a dangerous or deadly weapon, and inflicting great bodily injury. Well, given his past of being a criminal and having a long time ahead of him in prison, it probably wouldn't take much for him to be incentivized to unalive someone in prison. Luckily for Tory, the hit was botched, and even though he was badly hurt, he survived. But why on earth would Jay-Z want to take Tory out? After all, the case is over. Tory's appeal was denied and the case is done. So why on earth was all this necessary? Well, allegedly, he's trying to protect Megan because something new just popped up that might put the whole case in jeopardy and humiliate Megan all over again. Remember how on the night of the incident there were multiple people in the car? We had Tory, Megan, Megan's bestie Kelsey, and a bodyguard. Well, during the trial, the bodyguard conveniently went missing and was unable to give his testimony. But it looks like his conscience finally got the better of him and he stepped out to claim that Tory never shot Megan because Kelsey did it. According to TMZ, Tory's lawyers claim that a bodyguard by the name of Bradley James overheard Kelsey admitting to actually firing the gun that shot Megan. James allegedly heard Kelsey say she fired the gun 3 times, in which Tory grabbed her arm and knocked it down, causing the weapon to fire 2 times more. Interestingly though, during the trial, an eyewitness named Sean Kelly testified that he saw 2 women fighting before being broken up, which aligns with the newly submitted evidence. But that's not all, because multiple people are now speaking out about how unfair the entire trial was to Tory. Gianno Caldwell, a contributor to the New York Post, blamed former LA County DA George Gascon for railroading Tory during the trial and improperly using gun enhancement charges to paint Tory as a menace. Political strategist Diane London echoed the Megan conspiracy claims while comparing Tory's plight to that of the Menendez brothers, who could be on the verge of being released despite admitting to killing their parents. She noted how no forensic evidence was found on the gun that shot Meg and says it was determined there was a 0.001% chance Tory's DNA was on the gun. Well, 50 Cent is now claiming that there is a big conspiracy going on and that Tory's stabbing was not a coincidence. I mean, think about it. What are the odds that there was an attempt on his life only a few hours before some new evidence came out that could exonerate him? Yeah, 50 Cent is not buying it. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that Megan is lying or that she set Tory up. For one, she was walking away from the car when she was shot, so there was no way for her to know that it wasn't Tory who shot her. And given that she was arguing with him before getting out of the car, it's kind of understandable that she would believe that he shot her, especially because she had been besties with Kelsey for so long. Why would she believe her friend would do something like that? Plus, Megan never filed a lawsuit against Tory for shooting at her. The charges actually came from the state, not Megan. And in the days right after the shooting, she didn't even name who shot her. When the police showed up at the scene, she told them she stepped on some broken glass instead. But things took a turn when Tory and his team allegedly started spreading false stories about her. That seemed to be the last straw for Megan. She finally had enough and decided to put him on blast during an Instagram live, telling her side of the story.
So worry about it. Yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. Why lie?
Things got out of hand after that, and there were rumors that Jay-Z allegedly stepped in to manipulate the case because he was trying to protect Megan, who was signed to Roc Nation. Tory himself claimed that he was threatened by someone from Roc Nation, who told him to keep quiet and don't speak about the case.
2 days after that, I get a call from Roc Nation that says, yo, we heard you're gonna make a statement about what happened. And it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement.
But Tory didn't stay quiet. He denied shooting Megan and offered up his own version of what happened. According to him, things started going left when Kelsey, who he was supposedly seeing at the time, found out he and Megan had been secretly hooking up. And the wild part, Tory claimed that Megan knew all along about his situation with Kelsey. He said that once Kelsey found out she was more mad at Megan than him, that's when everything blew up. A big argument broke out in the car, and from there things just spiraled until it ended with Megan getting shot. Of course, that story didn't sit right with Megan's fans. Social media went crazy and everybody started taking sides and arguing who was telling the truth. Now, Tory's version completely clashed with what Megan had said, and the whole situation just kept getting messier. He tweeted, "Good D had me messing with two best friends and I got caught. That's what I apologize for. It's sick how you spun it though." After Megan came out and said Tory was the one who shot her, everything blew up. He got arrested but didn't stay in jail long since he was let out on a $350,000 bail. As a part of the deal, he wasn't allowed to speak at all about the case publicly, and the court made it clear he had to stay far away from Megan. But even before things went to trial, Megan was already catching a ton of heat. People started turning on her fast, calling her a liar, saying she was trying to ruin Tory's career. The backlash wasn't just a few trolls online. It was loud, non-stop, and coming from all directions. Social media was brutal. Some fans switched up on her, and even folks in the industry threw shade. A few artists like Drake even dropped songs suggesting she made the whole thing up. She opened up about this in an interview where she said, "In some kind of way, I became the villain. I don't know if people don't take it seriously because I seem strong. I'm trying every day to get through it and be good. I feel so bad because I don't feel like anybody's taking me seriously, but I don't want them to see me cry. I don't want them to know that I feel like this because I don't want them to feel like, oh, I got you, oh, I'm breaking you." She also revealed that she wanted Tory to be punished, saying, "I want him to go to jail. I want him to go under the jail act." But by the time the trial finally started in December 2022, things were already a complete mess. Even though it wasn't televised, the drama still felt like something straight out of a soap opera. Tory's legal team came at Megan with everything they had. They weren't exactly playing fair. Her personal life was picked apart in court, and even without cameras, details were leaking left and right, so the public still got front row seat to all the chaos. Tory's defense strategy seemed less about proving his innocence and more about tearing Megan down. They pushed this idea that she was jealous or whatever was going on between him and Kelsey, and they tried to twist the story to make her look like the aggressor. They even went so far as to throw around claims about her being with multiple men in the industry, clearly trying to shame her and damage her reputation. And Tory's team kept pushing hard and brought Kelsey in as a major witness, hoping her testimony would back up their side. But Kelsey and Megan used to be super close, but everything fell apart after the shooting. So when Kelsey got on the stand, she shared some pretty surprising info. She said that Kylie Jenner had only invited her and Megan to that party, and it was actually Megan who had invited Tory along.
We had to come kill the streets for 5 minutes. So what? I gotta switch up the music, the PD just came right. Tory, don't get my phone wet.
Well, needless to say, Tory was eventually found guilty, and that's when they really dragged Jay-Z into the case, accusing him of bribing the jury. Tory's dad, who had been vocal throughout the entire ordeal, went on a passionate rant outside the courthouse, accusing Jay-Z and Roc Nation of using their influence to sway the legal process. He took things a step further, alleging that Jay-Z was directly involved in getting Tory convicted, claiming that Jay-Z had had a hand in ensuring Tory's guilty verdict.
I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen. You want to know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Roc Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it. The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Tall and Alex Bott.
They met on Saturday before. They met
with our witness.
Well, Tory's dad did not hold back either. He went on to accuse Jay-Z of buying off his witness, Sean Kelly. He said that after Sean met with some people from Roc Nation, he started to act totally different. And Sean had originally given testimony that seemed to help Tory, but then this attitude shifted, and Tory's dad thinks he was either influenced or straight up paid off. And it was pretty bold of a claim and added even more drama to the situation. And Tory's side was basically saying there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than anybody realizes, like Jay-Z and Roc Nation messing with the case behind closed doors. And that just made the whole thing feel even more complicated and intense.
The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Tar and Alex Bart.
They met on Saturday before. They met on Saturday.
Our witness.
Well, Tory ended up getting sentenced to 10 years in prison, but his dad just wouldn't let it go. He's convinced that Jay-Z has been behind all of this from the start, pulling the strings behind the scenes. And according to him, Jay-Z's main goal was to protect Megan Thee Stallion, who's signed to Roc Nation and is a huge moneymaker for Jay-Z. Tory's dad thinks Jay-Z's moves are all about looking out for his investment in her career. There's also the fact that Jay-Z tried really hard to sign Tory before, but Tory turned him down, famously saying that he would never sell his soul. If you know how the music business works, you can probably read between the lines there. Tory's dad believes that Jay-Z took that rejection personally, holding a grudge that helped set this whole thing in motion. It looks like 50 Cent believes the same thing too, even hinting that Jay-Z might have gone as far as to try to permanently take Tory out. Now, this isn't the first time that 50 Cent has accused Jay-Z of doing something shady, because he has accused Jay-Z of playing God in the industry. He said he has a king complex. He thinks he's effing Jesus, you know what I mean? This Jehovah-ish. I'm just watching him. He said something one time I don't like, those little things, subliminal things. For me, that's the punk way to do things. But there's also the fact that Megan currently has a restraining order against Tory. Last year, her lawyers claimed that Tory had been bullying Megan from prison, saying, "Indeed, Mr. Peterson continues to harass, bully, and antagonize Miss Pete from prison by and through his use of third-party online bloggers, who Mr. Peterson employs to spread defamatory statements about Miss Pete. For example, one blogger, Elizabeth Milagro Cooper, has published several false statements about Miss Pete and the criminal trial. Miss Cooper's false statements are the subject of a civil lawsuit, Megan Pete versus Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, pending before the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida." It then said, as detailed in the amended complaint, Ms. Cooper serves as Mr. Peterson's puppet and mouthpiece. Mr. Peterson has publicly confessed that Milagro Grams is the realist. A true and correct copy of Mr. Peterson's tweet is attached here too as Exhibit 2. Indeed, even a former close friend of Ms. Cooper's, King Noir, admitted that Ms. Cooper worked alongside Mr. Peterson to smear Miss Pete's reputation. A true and correct copy of the article discussing King Noir and his comments is attached here too as Exhibit 3. King Noir also affirmed that Miss Cooper has disdain for Megan and that she talks to Tory's daddy in an effort to leak information to the press that comes directly from Mr. Peterson. Y'all, given that there's a possibility of this case going back to court, it's going to be interesting to see how the restraining order is going to play out when Tory and Megan have to go back to court.
Now, peeps, it looks like the woman scorned is finally going to see her day. Now, Kelsey's bodyguard has reportedly came forward claiming Kelsey was the one who actually shot Megan Thee Stallion and says he stayed quiet about the assault until now.
Family, what's up? I came across the gym. I said it in the video. What if this dude was protecting this woman? But like I said in that same video, you got to think about the scenario. Megan, Kelsey, you get to this party and you're thinking about what you're thinking about because they said that he was flirting with somebody. And then this situation happens. Listen, maybe he felt guilty because he was the reason that they were arguing. I don't think too many people thought about that. They were just gone with the the clickbait titles and all of that stuff to the point where they ignored the facts. Anyway, I feel like Tory tried to save both of them, but I feel like he more so saved Kelsey because that was his, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's check this video out and check out this call from Jason Lee. Let's get it.
So what if I told you the way that the Tory Lanez case has been happening, the way you're viewing the Tory Lanez case could be totally wrong? Jason Lee of Hollywood Unlocked released some of his conversation via text message with Tory Lanez that might have you think of this case and all parties involved in a totally different way. What if Tory Lanez was not protecting one, but two black women by taking the fall? Megan, Kelsey, you got some explaining to do.
Tory DM'd me some time ago. I never like to put receipts out, but let me go ahead and just pull it out.
Man, free him.
I'm going to tell you exactly what Tory said to me. Hold on. Tory Lanez. Let me go back to the pre-stabbing dates. Hold on.
Oh, God.
So this is recent. You got stabbed a couple days ago.
Okay. In a text message between Tory and I said, yo. He said, what's good? I said, how you surviving that bullshit? Wish we could have sat down before you left. Because you know me and him hung out with Madonna when they were messing around. Don't believe me? Take a look at this photo.
Really? Okay.
I said, do you have a number? He said,
Madonna.
what's yours? Let me move on to the text messages now. Then we started to text message each other. I said, how are you? How you been? He said, incredible, in very high spirits and preparing to physically come home this year. I said, when? I need to come in there and get an interview, LOL. He said, I can't say exact days, but I know I'll be home this year. I said, how long you been gone? I'm so confused by your case. He said, actually, I have a crazy plan when I get back that I think you should know and be a part of because I'm only going to do one interview. And he said he's been gone 2.5 years. I said, I want to be a part of that plan. He said, it's honestly a bunch of suppressed evidence that was kept away from me during trial. I said, Wack told me that, but didn't say what. He said, like through trial, they keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun. So I asked my lawyer to retest it. And sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how life works. And to think they made me the poster boy for the unprotection of black women, when in all honesty, I protected 2 black women, one from getting shot and one from going to jail. Never said nothing in 8 to 10 years for them to live. It's a crazy, crazy place we live in. I said, but why you ain't just say that? When I got shot, I told. And he said, I lost my mother at 11 years old. I couldn't sleep with myself. I was the reason for taking a mother away from her kid. I just couldn't do it. Tory Lanez.
He's better than me.
And again, I truly believe if Tory Lanez is innocent, he should be freed and he should be compensated for time that he was wrongly convicted.
Absolutely.
But I also believe the person who pulled the trigger, that person should go to jail. And if Meg conspired to set him up and lie on him, of course she should do time. But I'm just saying, in an instance like this, and
I don't like this long-winded explanation.
But the word conspired is so problematic because even if she didn't know, then she doesn't know. She can't say.
That's what I'm saying. So in an instance like this, we should all agree, if I'm in a situation that I did not know what happened, I shouldn't go to jail for that. Because I wouldn't want that for you. But I'm saying if the person did lie intentionally and set the other person up, she should go to jail.
Megan, you might be going to jail, girl.
Listen, y'all. Madonna is like a rite of passage. I feel like Madonna could be the female, take that. But I feel like she was that before him. She has been with people before Pac, all the way to Pac, and Tory. Tory, what are you doing, bro? You could that message, y'all. That's deep. That's real deep. I've seen a lot of situations where there's been a person that has tried to take the blame for a crime and the people know he really didn't do it or they didn't really do it. And they like, no, we know he did it. We're going to charge him. No, but I did it. No, you didn't. And we know you didn't do it. We're going to charge him. Yeah. What should happen if that's the case, y'all? Because there's been perjury, obstruction of justice, and probably a few more things in there if you really want to get technical with it. For real, for real. I can almost bet Megan somewhere. Let's continue.
That's crazy. That is crazy. But it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Megan, this whole situation was convoluted. And what I had to say was, like, this is kind of the information that we needed. You kind of thought Tory was playing the solid role, trying to definitely protect his street credibility as an artist out here, right? He don't want to be seen as ratting on two girls, but he ends up in jail for 10 years and they let him hang. They let him hug him up out to dry. But it comes back to what I mentioned in my last video about this topic. What person needs immunity to testify, in order to testify, unless they know that there is a possibility that they will be prosecuted for participating in this trial? Kelsey had an immunity deal. He was very combative on the stand, and she got immunity. She wasn't cooperating with either side, really, but she kind of told her account of things. And I think, going into this, we were all surprised that Tory even went to jail. Like, let's be honest. The facts and the evidence that was put forth showed that the GSR wasn't on Tory, it was on Kelsey. The DNA proof that they had was inconclusive about Tory ever having touched this weapon. And then I believe it was a pink, like, the gun was even color. It was a funny colored weapon. So are we to believe that this is something that Tory possessed and had on his own and was like, yeah, this hot pink. And he was out here just telling people to dance.
Now, I know the strap that he's talking about. I think it's like a SSCI or SOCI. It's some weird. It's actually a not so good firearm, but they come in all kind of colors: lime green, pink, brown, blue, sky blue, purple, turquoise, teal. They come in all them colors. What would this man be doing running around with a pink joint? Make it make sense. And that was something that came out early.
Like, Megan remembered it. It's funny how Megan was blackout drunk, like gone. You could even tell how she was stumbling after, the video that you see where she's walking on what looks like alleged glass. She literally says the most stereotypical thing, the most cartoon quotable that she could think of Yosemite Sam, Tory Lanez playing Yosemite Sam, saying dance, doing some cowboys stuff. Tory Lanez ain't even from America. What do you know about cowboys? And that sounds very Texas when you think about it, too. Even though Yosemite Sam, I guess he's from Yosemite, but, Yosemite is in California. But it was the Old West. This is a quote from the Old West. I mean, culturally, is that something you would say? Even if you're trying to be cool, like Tory is always trying to be cool, like, that doesn't seem like the most, that doesn't seem like the best idea for something to say when you're about to point something at somebody and say, make my day or whatever, even make my day is kind of corny, but it's not lining up. It never lined up. And that's why when we were covering it, we were saying what we were saying. Now all of this is coming out. Now you got the Bodyguard testimony that's saying that Kelsey pretty much admitted to this. So now we're going to have to go back and relitigate this thing. But like the guy said in the video, if in fact this is true, the state of California is going to be paying Tory Lanez for a very long time. A very huge amount. Because now he's been in jail and also been injured in jail. Like, this is the craziest part of it. And I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff happened right after Tory Lanez made this video. Probably not a coincidence.
What really gets me with this situation is it was so in our face. It was to the point where it was almost comical for him to be charged with everything that was revolving around a situation. Bodyguards just doing what they want to do when they're subpoenaed. Why did her taking the fifth, that told me everything I needed to know. And it should have told everybody else everything they needed to know. It's like you only take the fifth when you've done something you don't want being brought up.
$1 for the NFTs, right? I sold these to my fans for $1. People came, some people bought 20, some people bought 5, some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spent $60, you bought 60. I need y'all to understand, one of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now and see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit? I just cracked this whole shit. It's cracked. It's over. I cracked the whole shit. It's over. It's over. No more middleman. All y'all artists out there, your label, the nigga that's telling you, yo, you gotta wait for this day on Spotify and on this, that. Nigga, it's over. Y'all gonna get paid, and your fans gonna get paid, and they gonna keep coming to you. Why? Because y'all making money together. This the digital trap house. Welcome. You're fucking welcome. We here. We here. You understand why I'm going so crazy? I can't believe I did this shit my fucking self. This may not make sense to niggas like y'all. Some of y'all niggas, it hasn't registered yet. It hasn't got there yet. It hasn't got there. Y'all niggas like, yo, why is he screaming? Come on. Understand. Look into it. Do your research. This is revolutionary. This is history in the fucking making. It's right now. I think the lowest copy right now is going for 30,000. The lowest you can sell it for. Imagine a nigga who bought 5. Imagine a nigga who spent $5. Imagine a nigga who really spent $5, my nigga. He can make 500,000 selling them for 100,000 right now, and are buying it. Have you ever sold an album for 100,000?
Powerful. I'd say some people have an interest in stopping that. He was going to change the way albums were sold. We've seen a large devaluation in the NFT market, but he said it right. That's revolutionary. And that's something that a lot of people's interests would be impacted by. Seems like a good reason to stop this man in his tracks. And what better way than to throw him in jail?
But that clip y'all just saw, that's the reason for it all, in my opinion. So the streets say. Wink, wink. Anyway, that independency, acquiring your masters, independency, influence, and you got great product, and you can sing and rap. Come on. He was a gold mine. Gold mine. Blame Mary, y'all. He was a gold mine. Anyway, yeah. And then you got to look at the part where it's like, hey, Roc Nation wants you. No. Yo. Hey, yo, B. Holla at Meg. And just tell Meg that like she likes Tory, yo. That's the rapping camel voice. Anyway, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. And that was it. Probably didn't even want to do that. But what I find funny, y'all, is they're talking this husband talk with Kelsey. How was Kelsey his chick when she supposedly has a husband? That could be what. Yeah. I mean, it's already out that they were whatever. Anyway, I don't know. I'm out. Peace.
Shout out to Millie G. I'm sure you're somewhere kikiing like the chest cat, and you should be. You called it early, and they tried to clown you for it. Megan, girl, you should be ashamed. You stood on stages crying about protecting black women while you were out here destroying a black man, and another black woman too. You had no dog in that fight, and yet you lit the match. And now look, the lies didn't just break one career, they broke trust. Real ones know when you weaponize the truth, justice moves slow, but it moves. Justice for Tory, period. And healing for everyone his truth got tangled in. Stay locked. The truth always makes its way out. This is Digital Divas Daily, where we don't just sip the tea, we archive it.
I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit.
Thanks for tuning into the channel. Comment below how you feel, and don't forget to subscribe. Support the squad, like, share, or tip us a digital coffee if today's take gave what it was supposed to give.